Toronto, Canada. How are you today?
Ooh, we heard there's a storm.
Is there a storm?
There is a storm. I actually just saw, I was just talking to Gemma and Meredith, and out of the corner of my eye, lightning coming down, and I'm like, I jumped.
Very dramatic.
What is happening?
It's very dramatic.
Add some extra spice to the interview.
Yeah, that's right.
100%. And it's very appropriate. Okay, I got to tell you guys, I watched the whole thing. It was fabulous. I couldn't stop. Emily, kudos to you. I had no idea you were not British. What is the, where was your inner Brit coming from?
My obsession with movies, I think. Me and my mom and sister have watched the 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie 8,000 times, and I don't even know if I'm exaggerating on that. And I've always been sort of a mimic. I like to copy accents. And, I had a lot of help along the way. I have an amazing dialect coach who just sort of made sure that I didn't get overwhelmed by it. But it was just so fun. It's been a dream of mine forever to be in this world, and I thought it would never happen because I'm American. So somehow it worked out.
You're an inspiration to little American girls everywhere. That they can be an Elizabeth Bennet type.
See, I never thought that would happen.
I know.
It's pretty cool.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. You're so right. Edward, I would think once you booked this role, you're reading the script and you're kind of like rubbing your hands with glee at how much fun you were going to have doing this show.
I mean, completely. Guildford is sort of the dream part for like a sort of floppy haired actor boy like me. I think it's like he's got this great arrogance and roguishness, a sort of a dash of swashbuckling, but then underneath it all is some real trauma, and he's incredibly vulnerable. And I think what I love so much about this show is that we've sort of slightly taken the damsel in distress trope and flipped it on its head. And I think I've always thought of Guildford as the damsel in this show, and I think we have Jane, who has so many things on her plate, but one of the things is to save Guildford because she loves him. And I think that's really fun. It's fun to play a part that's subverted so much like that. He appears in episode 1 like he is the person who's going to come and save the day. He's going to do all of this, do all of that, and actually it's the complete opposite. As you realize as the show goes on, I think that is a delight.
Yes.
A delight.
It is a lot of fun to see their journey together. And yes, she is quite strong, Emily. Like, I love this reimagining of her life. I just think it's not only hilarious, but you really, you root for her. There's no question. Where did you find, or how did you find yourself in any way relating to Lady Jane?
I actually relate to Jane on a sort of deep personality level a lot, and I think that's why I maybe ended up getting this part. I think that she is stubborn in the way that she's not going to let anyone tell her who or what she should be in this world. And I would like to think that at some point in my life, I could be a little bit like that with Jane. That's something that I want to aspire to be, because I think, especially as a young woman, the world tries to put you in a box sometimes. And Jane's the ultimate example of that. I mean, she's being told exactly what she's going to be. So I think that's something that I relate to on a female level, but also just her sort of, the quick banter and like sarcasm to her is something that I think is a little bit of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to watch it. Edward, I want to know when you guys hit it off, when you guys knew, because you're thrown into movies, shows, whatever it is. Hi, this is your love interest, and you're jumping into the betting scene. Like, okay, honestly, but the chemistry to me seemed so real between the two of you. Was it an instant thing?
Yeah, I think it was. I had sort of been given this audition, and I was reading it and learning my lines, and I could not quite picture what they would go for Jane, because there's so many ways she is a character that could be represented in so many different ways. And then I met Emily on Zoom and was like, oh, it made total sense just straight away. I was like, the Zoom like sort of flashing up and seeing Emily staring at me, and sort of that clever, inquisitive, very chatty, and sort of like utterly lovable. And I think that was something that I felt straight away and was like, oh God, if I get this part, this is going to be easy.
And
Emily?
yeah, I mean, I think we actually said on the Zoom, like, this makes sense.
Yeah, but because we actually Zoomed each other without anybody else. First, our agents put us in contact with each other so we could say hi to each other before the chemistry read. So it was sort of actually us just left to our own devices.
And even though there's like a 3-second delay that makes everything slightly just off.
Yeah, we were trying to build some chemistry with a bit of a...
And we are both, you know, chatty, aren't we?
Neither of us shut up.
So it wasn't hard to sort of break the ice and just become friends really quickly.
I know. Yeah, and I remember coming off that Zoom because I didn't have the part yet, but Emily did. And I went into the Zoom being like, this is a great show, I really want to be in it. I came off the Zoom being like, oh, now I have to be in it. And I was like, oh, okay, right. And it like just added an extra level of push for me.
I had a feeling.
It worked. It worked. I'm so glad that you were both cast because you guys are so fabulous in it. Okay, now from my perspective, I honestly don't think it's such a bad thing to be an Ethian. Like being able to turn into an animal, why not? Right? Like there's so many advantages to that. I don't want to give away Edward, but honestly, you had a good one. You had a good one. But if you could do it in real life, what would be your animal?
Do you know, I want to say something super interesting, but I think the reality is I'd be a dog. Like I would definitely be some sort of like slightly anxious Australian shepherd or something.
Yeah, I sort of see you as like a
beady
really
eyes.
gorgeous like spaniel.
Or a spaniel.
Yeah, is how I see it.
Yeah, what about you?
I think there's a very, very big difference between what you'd want to be and what you actually think you would be. Because there's like what you would want to be. I think like a bird is sort of a no-brainer, like a sort of powerful bird. I think that's like the best way to live. But what you would be, probably sort of like a frog or something. And people kept telling me throughout the thing, they were like, oh, your Ethian animal would be a frog, which no disrespect to frogs, I actually take quite well. I think I quite enjoy being a frog. I think they live quite decent lives.
On a lily pad.
Especially if you're a poisonous one. Nobody even bothers you. You can just live your life.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
And also a little bit of flamboyance with the color.
Yeah, you know, it could work. I would personally like to be the bird. I agree with you on the bird, just being able to fly anywhere. Okay, we have a couple minutes left. We need to talk Rob Brydon. For Rob Brydon to play your father, I mean, hello, gift from God. But I don't know how you guys get through takes with him being on set, especially, you know, the comedic mind that guy is. So, Edward, just discuss working with Rob Brydon.
Firstly, it was like an absolute dream come true. I think being the age that I am, I've sort of been exposed to Rob in things like The Trip, and even when he was presenting television shows, comedy shows over here, he's been, and Gavin and Stacey is the biggest one as well for me, and anyone sort of definitely in Britain. I think like I've grown up with him, and so to even be standing opposite him felt like a bit of a sort of wild hallucination at times. But like he's so quick, he's so clever. I think he can spark something out of nowhere if the room sort of is losing a bit of energy, or if it's been a long day. You can always rely on him to completely change the temperature of the room with one improvised line, one little punch line, or one joke. And then off screen, he's sort of the same. He lives to make people laugh, he lives to entertain people, and he's incredibly kind and thoughtful at the same time. And just such a pleasure to have him play my dad.
Yeah, Emily, for you, because also having Anna Chancellor play your mom, and she's just so naughty and amazing in this show too. Like, what a gift, honestly. The whole cast, everybody must have been so much fun and quite familial, I would think, on this set.
Definitely. And I think, you know, this is my first time ever leading a show like this. So to have someone like Anna, who every single day on set would teach me something new. I mean, she's so brilliant. And I think it's so funny because the relationship between Jane and Frances could not be more opposite between the relationship with me and Anna. I mean, she's one of the most kind and generous with her time women I've ever met, and also just so cool.
Yeah.
And also, it's like you're in the presence of comedy royalty. You've got Ducky from Four Weddings and a Funeral.
I know, right? I know.
right in
Honestly,
front of
guys,
you. It's like
I got
yeah.
to see her this close do what she does best. I mean, how is that a job? How is that possible? That, yeah, is amazing.
well, you guys pulled it off big time. I'm telling you, I absolutely adored this series. I needed a laugh, and thank you for that. And I so appreciate your time today. Best of luck. And my fingers are crossed for another season because I want to see where this is going to go. Okay. So
Oh,
thanks for
So
your
do
time.
we.
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Take care. Have a great day today. Bye bye.